This is José Luis Cuevas' studio in Mexico City, the place of his birth. Here his dreams and hallucinations, some people would say his nightmares, become drawings. This brass bed is one of his prized possessions. Cuevas himself has said,
Adquirí esta cama antigua inglesa del siglo XIX.
"This Victorian bed means a great deal to me. Here I rest, here I recover from my frequent illnesses. Here at times I seek refuge. Here I make endless notes in my sketchbook.
Esta cama es para mí un pequeño mundo."
This bed for me is a world apart. It is fascinating to see him work, as here before the camera. His theme is Sir Walter Raleigh and his secret. Very likely it will become a series of drawings. Cuevas needs no model, although he did at the beginning of his career. Dispensing with reality, he relies on imagination, on remembrances of people and things past. A line springs from his pen, is joined first by one and then another. Little by little, a form takes shape, comes to life before our eyes.
Yo dibujo desde que soy niño.
I have been drawing since I was 5. In the beginning, my work was simple, but it's grown more and more complicated as I added first one thing and then another. In this, I am the reverse of other artists.
A mí me ha gustado mucho estudiar.
I have always liked studying and experimenting with drawing. I try not to limit my means of expression. I use a variety of techniques, such as pencil shading. José Luis was born in 1933. A melancholy, inner-directed child, observing his surroundings in silence, he viewed his own nature as a mystery. Do his frequent self-portraits represent efforts at self-revelation, or are they attempts at self-perpetuation, inspired by a fear of death?
El autorretrato ha sido una de mis obsesiones.
I am obsessed with my own likeness. My first self-portrait was done when I was 10. I've carried this obsession to the point of sketching myself every day, right after I wake up. I have notebooks full of these self-portraits. I have an antique mirror right by my bed so I can see myself while I draw. I could say that I greet life every day with a self-portrait. Some years back, I was very sick. During these weeks, when things were worst, I did 275 drawings, most of them the self-portraits. Afterwards, I had a show called 7 Days in the Life of José Luis Cuevas, or 275 sketches drawn in fear of death.
Muero cada día. No hay nada nuevo en ello.
I die every day. There is nothing new in this. I've seen death close up, and I am not afraid of it. Still, I don't like the thought of ceasing to exist. Death's echoless call, the mystery that lies beyond. It is no consolation to me that I have begotten others of my own kind, that I have peopled paper with monsters. These represent posterity, my continuation after death. But they don't remove the fact of death. It is still there, lurking, behind the children of my body, the product of blind instinct, even as it lurks behind these drawings, the children of my thoughts and dreams.
Aquí en la parte posterior del dibujo a la derecha, aparezco.
Here I am at the back to the right. drawing the profile of this beast, which perhaps will be used in the final version of Sir Walter Raleigh's Secret. I am completely incapable of copying myself. In other words, the lithograph I do will be completely different from what we see here, from the drawing I am doing now and from the 24 I did previously on the Raleigh theme. Perhaps only an occasional element will be kept. Right now, I am obsessed with the head of this beast. Maybe this is the element that will remain till the end, the sole survivor of all you see. The lithograph I do will not be a copy of any of the 24 or 25 sketches I made for it. With closely interwoven lines, he has drawn 7 figures, among them a beast and a self-portrait. Strange visions mingle to form a dark dream world in a composition that shows the hand of a master. Cuevas is still fascinated by what he calls my old masters. Hence, this self-portrait in the manner of Rembrandt. Or this other, inspired by Rivera's portrait of a bearded lady, which he found behind a curtain in a palace in Toledo. His work has firm roots in the past, but its life springs from his own personality. This imaginary portrait of the French poet Rimbaud once again bears Cuevas' image.
La carne puede ser tersa.
Flesh can be smooth, oily, scaly, or rough. I shudder at the thought of Greta Garbo with varicose veins. I am nauseated by the idea of Mae West with fatty degeneration of the buttocks. Flesh is a curse. It dominates our lives, enslaves us, makes us do everything. In the National Gallery in Washington, Cuevas came on an infant Jesus by Mantegna, calmly classic, but hinting at the flowing lines of Baroque. Roused by it from a fit of depression, he did a series of Mantegna variations ranging from the quiet to the violent. When Cuevas appeared on the international art scene, abstraction was the order of the day. Its followers had nothing but scorn for those who still drew from life, especially the human figure. Cuevas demonstrated his capacity for the abstract in 5 paintings on paper, The Conquest of Mexico, now considered a landmark in his career. Once they were finished, however, he went back to his usual themes and manner.
El desnudo no es una excitación erótica.
There is nothing erotically stimulating in bare skin, quite unlike the act of exposing it. One can be attracted to it by smell, since it has an odor, but it soon means nothing to the sense of touch. Thank heaven for clothing. It is one of man's most brilliant inventions. Without it, the human race would die out. If we went about naked, we would never feel the urge to couple. Cuevas had little contact with 2 of the Mexican muralists, Rivera, whose portrait by Cuevas we see here, and Orozco. Meetings occurred only by chance, and Cuevas was too timid to pursue the acquaintance. It was a different story with Siqueiros, who lived long enough to witness Cuevas' public triumphs and to be attacked and mocked by the younger man, as in these unpublished caricatures, for his championship of politically directed art with a social message. In the end, the two developed a friendship based on mutual respect.
Sí, cómo no. Cómo no, Elena, sí.
Yes, of course. Certainly, Elena.
Tú sabes, mientras
You know that when I am talking, I draw with my left hand. Although I am all thumbs when it comes to doing anything else with either of my hands.
Bueno, yo creo que podríamos...
We might meet at some cafe in the tourist district. Perhaps at Conditori.
Entonces nos vemos. Quedamos en eso, ¿no? Nos vemos, Elena.
So long then, Elena.
Adiós.
Goodbye. 1954 marked a milestone in Cuevas' career. Early in July, his first show outside of Mexico took place at OAS headquarters in Washington. It was a triumph. The Washington Post and Star and Time magazine were the first to hail the arrival of a new artist of world importance. Other shows followed in America and in Paris. Articles about him multiplied. The timid prodigy had become a recognized revolutionary master.
Estamos tratando de vender, señores capitalistas. Todo está rematándose.
¿Usted conoce a José Luis Cuevas?
Sí, cómo no. No dilata de llegar. No dilata de llegar mi famoso maestro José Luis Cuevas. Estamos rematando. No vendo edificios. No vendo oro. Vendo arte, señores capitalistas.
Every Sunday, the Lagunilla flea market is filled with people selling old furniture and pictures, worn phonograph records, and junk in general. Buyers come treasure hunting, but rarely find anything of value.
Hola. Luis 15. Nació Luis 14, señora, porque 15 murió antes.
Muchas mañanas del día domingo me las
I
paso
spend many Sunday mornings here at the Lagunilla market, walking around, observing things, meeting people. I buy lots of old things and take them to my studio.
¿No te padres platos?
¿Por qué estás preguntando, Berta?
Por la vajilla.
¿Cuánto vale? No.
20,000.
No me duele, señor, porque en todas partes del mundo lo hay.
Para que nos complacemos nosotros viéndolo.
¿Cómo no?
Si a usted le divierte eso,
A mí no me divierte.
Entonces, ¿para qué está parado ahí horas y horas viendo?
Porque se me da la gana para evitar que usted lo hagan.
Pregúntale. ¡Chacharita!
Ven acá, que de rodillas lo estoy pidiendo, ven acá. Otra vez quiero en tus ojos, en esos ojos, poderme ver. Ven acá a devolverme todos los besos que yo te di. Tu recuerdo me hace soñar cuando siento que te perdí. Ven acá, que aunque tú fueras de todo el mundo, yo soy de ti.
Cuevas has a constant need for his family. He laughs at his daughter's funny sayings and rejoices in their merry company. One of them always goes with him when he travels. He has interested both of them in art, particularly the cinema.
Cuando veo tu retrato canto.
Thanks to his appearances on television and in movies, newspapers, and magazines, Cuevas is recognized on the street. A woman comes up and kisses him. Like actors and sports stars, he is asked for his autograph. At Lagunilla, a street artist asks him to pose. Recently, friends put him up for election to the Chamber of Deputies, but despite his popularity, he got only 4 votes.
Ya que es la sola prenda que me quedó de ti.
Que me tomen una, ¿no?
Cuevas doesn't drink, but he likes the company he finds in bars and saloons, types with which he can populate the dream world of his drawings. Cuevas comes upon a saloon with a primitive mural featuring people in show business. Whenever possible, he makes sketches of the bar patrons. Reality becomes imagination, the outgoing retreat into an agony of incommunicability. In this self-portrait, he seems to be carrying off to Europe, jealously guarded in his portfolio, his company of imaginary monsters.
Desde el año 1976...
In 1976, I decided to leave Mexico and to live in Paris. I find it very exciting to live here, to have a studio of my own near the Avenue de Clichy on the Rue de la Condamine, to have shows at the Museum of Modern Art, the Museum of the City of Paris, and the Seine Gallery. I had an exhibit here back at the start of my career in 1955. There is no question that I find Paris captivating. There is something in its atmosphere that is leaving its mark on the work I've been doing these last 2 years.
Esta ciudad. Me gusta caminarla.
I like observing the city. I take long walks through the streets. I'm never without my notebook. I put down everything that attracts my attention. I've been doing this for years. I had studied engraving in Mexico City. Here in Paris, I have been working with some outstanding printers, La Courrière and Ferrer, up in Montmartre. I have been learning new techniques of engraving. It is a wonderful experience to work with Jacques and Robert Ferrer. They're old master printers. They collaborated with people like Picasso, Matisse, and Braque. You could say that the most famous artists of Europe have come here. It is not surprising, then, that I find the atmosphere here so stimulating. Printmaking has reached new highs in Cuevas' hands. Avoiding superficial effects, he has brought new techniques and modes of expression to lithography. In these metal engravings, done in Paris after long years of practice in Mexico, once again we see the hand of a master. There is not the slightest hesitation of stroke. Lines flow with freedom and assurance. The atmosphere speaks of the past, but the expression is peculiarly Cuevas' own. His highly developed technique displays a wealth of detail uncommon in modern engraving. Cuevas' work shows a constant obsession with death. It derives from two traditions, the pre-Hispanic Mexican, marked by sacrificial rites, and the Hispanic, which views death with extreme realism. Here lie the roots of his hallucinations and his personal style. His work, however, is entirely self-sufficient, that of a true artist. As he questions death, Cuevas challenges time.
Veo la muerte en todo.
I see death everywhere. It beckons to me, but it sets no date for our meeting. When will it be? There lies the uncertainty that leads to despair.